great, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, write that down.
I did. Hopefully it saves it.
Take, put it in your phone.
I know on my phone, every time I come in, it automatically.
Yeah, when I changed firms, I got a new computer, so it probably just, they obviously didn't have it.
Okay.
We're
You may now
live.
Start your meeting. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to call this October 13th meeting of the Planning Commission to order at 6:30. I'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, has everybody had a chance to read their minutes from the September 8th meeting? Yes, sir. Any additions, corrections?
Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, citizens. Mr. Thorne, can you still hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and start with you.
Oh, great.
And we'll let you start. I can't see you very well because there's a little sign in front of your face, so.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, actually, my question, I think, was primarily for John. Is he there?
Yes, he's just off camera. He's a little shy.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, I just got an email from him not too long ago that seemed to answer the question I had, which was regarding the limitations of any kind of agriculture on the property that we are hoping to purchase. And it sounds like none of what we were talking about would be permitted.
That's not totally correct. I did that for purposes of, you have to have a zoning decision before you get a variance. Well, agriculture, if you just did it purely for home purposes, that is permitted, gardening, et cetera, like that's permitted. But if we get to the animals, the husbandry, the little goats, those type of shelters and everything else, those are not permitted in a R2 district.
Okay. All right. Would it? Yeah. So what's the probability of getting a variance on that? I guess that's really what it comes down to. And unfortunately, it's a decision I have to make right away instead of waiting for a committee meeting because we've got a sale pending right now.
Well, that's something that this body, this is Planning Commission, and the Board of Zoning Appeals is a total different body.
Right.
And they would have to, given the outcome of the 15 acres, there is an R1 that abuts it. There's an R2, but there's a river, then there's some non-buildable towards the river. I can't say one way or another what they say. I mean, those things are in your favor. However, it is an autonomous board that makes the decision.
Right. Right. All right. Well, I guess that was a quick answer then. Okay.
Wes, you being on the board, have you had a chance to read his letter?
I think I just read it. Yeah, I mean, everything looks in order. Obviously, I can't speak for the
Oh,
committee.
no, but what is your feeling?
I don't foresee it as a problem. I mean, we could, as far as the timeline is concerned, though, we would have to publicize the meeting. Then we'd have to, host the meeting. So even if we wanted to make it a decision in the short term, we'd have to have that public notice.
Right.
So, I mean, I personally, and from the nature of the crew, I don't think that'd be an issue, but.
Especially knowing the property.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know the property.
Right. Yeah, I think it's great, and obviously, I personally would welcome it, but like I said, I can't speak for the others, and the time is of the essence. I'd like to have a meeting tomorrow on it, but that's just not feasible.
Right.
Right.
Okay, now, does he have to make an application and have it denied?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I said in the email.
Yeah, I think that constitutes a rejection for
Okay.
purposes of moving on to a variance application.
Because it's clear cut, black and white, yes.
Okay, okay.
So Steve, the way it usually works, if you apply for a variance, you
Mhm.
would fill it out, you would pay the fee of
$200.
$200. And they have to send out letters to anybody that's within 250 feet of the property and give them 15 days. So the meeting couldn't be held for the first 15 days from when the letter goes out. So it's going to be at least 3 weeks to
Okay,
get something scheduled. But as Wes said, when it's things that improve the village like this, even though he can't speak for everybody and neither can I, they are usually fairly lenient in wanting to work with bringing new people into the village, so.
okay, all right. I guess that's something we'll need to think about then. Okay.
But
All right,
the sooner you can decide what you want to do, the sooner we can get things moving.
right. Well, we're going to talk about it tonight. Sure.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
sounds great.
All right. Well, thank you for your opinions. I
Okay,
appreciate
thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
All righty.
Now we're frozen up up here. Are you frozen up back there?
He just cut it, maybe he just cut a video.
No, that picture's been like that for a while.
Is that better?
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Yeah, it's telling you low system resources
I'm
or
aware of
something
that.
silly.
I'm sorry, this is my ancient laptop.
Oh.
I have nightmares about this thing.
Do Tommy next?
Mr. Van Auken,
Yeah,
talk to us, please.
I own the former Middlefield Bank building down by the river. And I've been trying to sell it, not getting absolutely anybody interested in it, because everyone knows it floods there and the building's sinking. And we talked with FEMA to see if there was some kind of something of relief that they could, I could get paid for to get rid of the building. And they said to contact you guys, or you would have to get the application through FEMA for this to go through.
If you would be interested in the land.
Yeah,
So it's a mitigation grant program. And if you were interested in, and they accepted it, that the building had to be torn down, then you guys would eventually get the land. It would be in your name and you could do what you wanted with it. No buildings on it though.
you could keep the parking lot, you could make a green space park.
Another park, how nice.
Well, it's along the river there.
I know.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Like at Red Sox.
Kind of know.
John?
It's worth a try, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't see anything.
I mean, it's just the infant stages now, and then we'll see what they'll pay, you know, I don't even
Yeah,
know
right.
if it's
Being,
gonna
being,
be feasible. you
Right.
know.
being close to our water plant too, and our water supply, would it qualify as you know, keeping the aquifer clean and so forth?
That's a nice angle.
I mean, that's just another angle to help.
Yeah, yeah.
It's in the flood zone, the aquifer,
It's
you know,
it's
conservation.
Flood zone,
Yeah.
and it's sunk, it doesn't, I don't know.
How long before it's sunk all the way?
I don't know if we'll live long enough or not.
Okay. Okay, so the application has to come from the village?
Yes,
Do you have a contact name?
Ryan Checkerfull.
yeah,
She's kind of like Jeff Dunham, you know?
yeah.
I do have his phone number and email. if you need that.
Okay. Is that a decision the planning commission can make?
I think we probably want to look into it a little more before we start. I mean, that's up to you guys. If you guys want to make a motion to pursue it and just to at least look into it, I mean, you're not obligating the village to do anything just by looking into it, right? That would be a council decision. If you want to try to information gather, then this body can probably initiate that process.
Okay,
That's where I'd start.
okay.
And then the park district, they were kind of interested in it when I first talked to them. In fact, they gave me FEMA's number
Mm-hmm.
because they can't pay much, you know? That's why she sent me to FEMA, because they would pay up to 75% of fair market value, which I would be happy with, you know? If it's
And their plan was on doing this,
same
a
thing,
launch or
making a green
landing
space
area.
and, you know, kayak launching or whatever.
Okay.
There's a parking lot's pretty decent there, yeah, you know. And as far as tearing it down, I have the equipment, they'd have to get the permits, and
That was all
as,
covered.
as far as removing the rubble and stuff, I mean, I can remove the concrete, but the other stuff needs to go special, but you know, there's asbestos, I don't know that yet,
Okay.
but they would do all the permits, from what he said.
Yeah, we had a flyer, but I couldn't get it to
I
print
didn't
out.
print it.
Okay, I would think that we probably want to follow Michelle's
Yeah.
suggestion. So if somebody would like to make a motion to
I'll make a
pursue,
motion.
I'll second it.
all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
What I put was pursue investigation for mitigation
Mhm.
grant.
If you can find the flyer, can you email it to like the mayor?
I can email, yeah.
Then we'll, then at least then she can forward it on to, or one, somebody here.
Yeah.
Because email's probably the easiest to remember. Or John, but.
So we'll just ask for a motion at council. I don't think we need legislation, just,
Not to investigate, right? I mean,
we still have to get council's permission to investigate.
okay,
Oh, I don't know.
right.
that
No,
you- I mean,
No?
No, I think
No.
once you get your information.
Oh,
you can
okay.
Kind of rendezvous back here next month and see what.
Sorry, I
what the collection
misunderstood.
is, and then
Yeah.
if you want to move on with it, if you
Okay.
have something that's, you know, more formal action to send to council. I think right now you're just in the information gathering stage.
And there's also the Greenfield and CPG funds that the county's been asking for things like this for a while.
Is this
We'll check
something,
with them too.
like the DMRC was just asking about grant stuff? They went in with the park.
Yeah. Maybe. Check with them, and I'm sure. When this email?
manawaymayor@sbcglobal.net, all lowercase,
SBC.net.
Yes.
sbcglobal.net.
Thing I brought you.
John, you said Greenfield and what else?
CDBG.
CPG, Greenfield.
It's the email from Ryan that, because I had emailed him, and he responded to a couple questions and then attached the flyer at the bottom.
I may have that already.
Okay.
He and I have been in contact every time you guys have
He
spoken.
told me that, yeah. So, yeah, it's just at the bottom. of
Okay.
that email.
Okay, we'll do some investigation into it. I'll make sure I get the address down so we, is that gonna be two separate addresses?
Yes,
or-
there's actually
'cause of
three,
the-
I believe, for that building.
So it's gonna be 3 plots or lots or, okay. Is that under your name or is it gonna be under,
Mine, yeah.
okay. Okay. I'll gather all that stuff up for the group here and we'll start
That'd be great.
doing some checking.
Do we want to include the old Napa store in this application to get knocked down?
The whole south end of Mantua.
Oh, yeah, boy,
So, well,
we're
we'd
not
stop at a Grams, but
Yeah, we could stop at Grams, yeah.
Well, Lisa's is the same thing, you know. Bad shape.
oh yeah, yeah, that one's, I'm just waiting for it to
Yeah.
split and.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
No,
Okay, it falls on our court now.
yeah.
Sounds good.
Start looking into it and
Yeah,
hopefully we'll have an answer.
I mean,
Kinda.
I know it's gonna take a lot of time, he even told me that.
Oh, this is a government, man.
Yeah,
It's moving.
But that's why I wanna get the water shut off and I wanna winterize the building.
Okay.
So
I
don't
made
need-
myself a note to call.
I don't need a new meter.
Nope.
I just need it shut off, to outside shut off on the
It should be.
Yeah, I'm sure there are, but whether
whether it shuts off.
whether you've covered them up with asphalt or not.
Well, there's a manhole on the sidewalk. I don't know if that did or not.
It would be a little round thing.
Well,
Is there anything in the grass?
they'd have come across it when they did the sidewalk,
Yeah,
I would think, wouldn't they?
Should've.
They
They
should
probably
have.
concreted over it.
Wasn't in the bid to raise the bond.
We're over there by that fire hydrant. Might be in that area there somewhere.
So how many meters are there?
Two.
Two? Just two? Two?
Inside, yeah,
Okay,
in the t-shirt side.
okay.
And there's a lockbox on that door to get in there if they need to get in there. Key there.
Do they have the
Is it
code for the lockbox?
Well, I told them before when they were going to read the meter when Millfield left.
Okay, so it should be on your cards then.
Or if not, just call me. I don't.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
see what we can find out. And you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
You don't have to stay.
You're free.
You're free to if you want to, though. Most people don't choose to.
Good luck.
Thanks, Susan.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Okay. Everybody's got a should have a copy of the zoning inspector's report in front of you. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Or John, do you need to expand on anything?
Just that probably the second one there, probably will go forward on the variance request. Being they do have civil plans they've submitted, but they haven't submitted printed copies yet, so I'm waiting for that. Once those are done, then we'll see what the variances are, because without knowing them, we don't know if we need the architectural plans. I don't think we do, as long as they're, restricted on building height, restricted on size of building and everything else, which at the time I talked to them, all that's gonna be within zoning. It's just ingress, egress, the pond in the front, because of retention, because of the lie of the land, and then also, there's some wetlands to that Mantua, very small amount, under an acre, but in the rear, they'd have to fill up to it. Mitigation permits, all that has to be done. That'll require engineering, nothing to do with the variances.
Okay.
I have the zoning inspector report in front of me, and so when you say the second one, are you referencing the Dollar General, or
Mhm.
they're planning to put in a retention pond in front of that?
Yeah, they have to have retention, so yes. It's on the civil plan that's in front, but that doesn't mean that's where it's gonna go, because our engineer has to look at it. Probably better places for it to go. There's so much impervious surface now, and they've gotta meet the critical storm, which means more, anything they do is probably gonna be less impervious surface. That's the key, as far as some of their landscaping and stuff like that, since it's all impervious right now. So they gotta do those calculations and so forth, and see what type of pond with a skimmer probably gonna be required, or they'll have to put it underground, which is a possibility too.
But they are looking to come in then.
If they spend as much money as they have in civil plans, I think so. Yes.
We still can't pull up a picture of that one up in Fairport Harbor, can we?
Let me see, 'cause I was up there.
And they did submit all their permits and fees already too. They've got the zoning variance submitted, they've got and the $500 for the site plan review for engineering. That's already in. Take it, we haven't cashed it until they get the architectural plans in.
Yeah, I think the architectural plans are probably what we're gonna wanna see.
Well,
Honestly.
absolutely, before they do the actual zoning permit itself, I think that's what we have to wait on, we don't, That's why I won't cash the check until that time starts, when the full application is done. While the zoning could be concurrent, the variance concurrent, the other ones, I don't want to start that running until the full application is done for time period.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm just anxious to see it because like we said, we want to at least make sure that it's different from a lot of the other Dollar Generals that we see.
And when I spoke to them on the phone, significant. They seemed like they were willing to work with us, so let's see how much they do.
The one over in Garrettsville, has anybody seen that one? It has a brick front and it has a smaller sign on the door.
Tony, the one in Fairport Harbor would be acceptable here. It was so odd to see it. It was like, that's not a Dollar General. Yeah, that is a Dollar General.
Yeah, like black awnings and.
Yeah, and it was relatively new, like maybe a yearish old. And yeah, it was just there. We were driving down the road and there it was. And I had to take a double take, But yeah, it didn't look like, the two at each end of the each end of the town. It was like brown brick and yeah, it had awning and it was nice looking.
Okay.
For as much as you can,
Yeah.
But
Okay, well, as long as we
It's a weird
can,
thing looking for pictures of a Dollar
yeah, isn't that?
General. Doesn't even give me images.
well, next time somebody drives up there, take pictures.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I have them and I'll forward them.
Okay,
And that'll give us an idea, and then, it'd be nice before they start working on our architectural drawings, if we give them an idea of what we want to see.
Well, and if we're not doing backlit signs, that might, we're gonna have to change.
And that's gonna be important too, well,
but again, we can't suspend the rules on this legislation, so.
well, that's not gonna happen in
Yeah.
3 months anyhow, I don't think.
Hopefully not.
We'll see. Okay, new business, work on what the fee for the rental inspections will be, and should the inspector be certified, licensed per council's request, also work on boarding houses and multifamily homes in rural residential. Clearly, Kim is not here tonight.
And she was going to bring pricing and her husband with her tonight, so I guess I make a motion, we put this on hold till we see where they're at.
All right.
Did you review that it says apply in there, that the wording that I said, you were like, oh, we'll tell them, we'll send out letters, but I read it said they have to apply. The landlords have to apply for the permit. It wasn't, we were sending letters out the way I read it. Did you read that in the ordinance?
No,
Hey, Michelle,
I'm here.
hit any key.
What?
It says your
Time out.
TV will power off. Please press
Oh,
any key
I-
to cancel.
I powered it
And
off.
it's
I thought I
counting
turned it
down.
off.
can you bring that legislation up for us?
There you go.
My question is, if we're changing anything, we should look at
Um,
that.
Yes, I can put the legislation up. Hang on. Try to, okay,
There we go.
it's back on.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, somebody's gonna have to. All right, let's see. This might take a second.
Just look at the reflection in Randy's classes.
Yeah.
You'll know what's going
Is
on.
it showing what I'm doing?
It's got a new tab on it right now.
Okay, let's just.
Is there a copy of that legislation available around here somewhere?
Who remembers
just-
what the number was?
I don't.
4,
19 dash.
wait, I got it written somewhere.
I thought it was just recently.
No, it's last December.
Oh, was it already that?
It was passed in December?
Pretty sure it was.
Is it 2020-39?
Did you add it online yet, Michelle?
2019-39.
So the initial implementation was this section 3. Because we didn't put that in the, so you may not have read this, or maybe you did read it. Section 3, initial implementation of the residential rental unit inspection program shall occur over a 36-month period by randomizing a list of the existing residential rental housing stock in the village. The rental inspector shall notify each rental property owner of their location on the list. Newly created residential rental properties shall be added to the list and scheduled for inspection immediately. Subsequent triennial inspections shall occur every 36 months after the initial inspection pursuant to this section. So that's how it starts. Now, I know what you're saying about they shall apply, but basically that was because they had to fill in the application materials to say, you know, how big their thing was, how many people were living in it or whatever. That may have been made a part of the ordinance. Did you see the application? Was that part of it? Oh, you didn't see that either, okay. So,
No, I didn't look at the legislation, I looked at the ordinance, and I was like,
oh,
okay.
you looked at it in the book?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So this is right here. So we did, I believe, approve, all right, this is slow. Application for triennial residential rental permit for Exhibit B. That had the application materials in it.
Okay.
So if I go back with any luck, Exhibit B is here. Sorry. My computer's like smoking over here. It's trying to keep up.
While she's doing that, John, are we gonna have all our stuff for COVID-19 receipts and everything, or
No.
by the 20th?
Ever since January, we'll have POs. We're just getting quotes tomorrow.
Okay.
Flushless toilets and motion detectors and switches. Harness coming in, JC's coming in. So we won't have receipts now, but we should have quotes.
Quotes, well, that's the best we
I'm
can do.
trying to do POs. That's what I told her in the email.
Okay.
Harness coming in on the morning. Both Dave and Joe are.
Do we need to get a TV for up here, seeing as this COVID might be going on forever, so Michelle doesn't have to
I
lug
think-
her spare?
Well, I think we should. I think we should have a whole system, to be honest with you, so she doesn't have to. I mean, you're right, we could be doing this.
Well, she's using her laptop right now, right?
For
We could be
personal-
doing this for
Why
quite a
don't, yeah,
while.
why
And
don't we,
And that's her TV.
yeah, we should,
Here's the problem that I see. I appreciate that, and I think that would be great if we're gonna have to keep doing this. Right now, there's a sunset provision on the law that allows us to do this remote Zoom thing. It's December 1st. So if we're all gonna go back to the way things used to be on December 1st, what's the point?
Yeah,
Well-
but isn't that up to us whether we're gonna go back to the way things
It's
used to
up to
be?
the state.
Well, one thing, I think that we should have a TV out here large enough so that when we have things that we want to share, when we're all meeting in person, we can bring it up like this. I mean, we would need a bigger screen, but,
Or Rich doesn't
or
have to bring
Rich
in
doesn't
his
have to
screen.
lug his stuff.
What if we wanted to show Donna Reese as a council?
Right,
the video?
exactly.
That would be nice to be able to have that.
Now, Michelle can do that for us, bring it up on our screen for us that day.
Michelle, we can talk about another time. I just
Or you
think,
guys
I was
can move on to like the
Okay.
legislation, and when I finally get
I
that
just want to make
application
sure
up.
we weren't like, the way I read it and the way it was explained to me here, I was like, that's not how I read it. I don't want to have that.
Right.
I don't want people coming to us upset that, well, it says I applied, why'd you send me this letter?
Well, because the initial legislation does say that we make a list, we inform them where they are on the list, and then they have to submit the application so that we can then inspect them. So yes, you're right, it does say that they have to apply, but they apply on our application when we tell them to. I think it should be worded some other way.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't you think that you have to apply once we tell you to apply? That's like.
Once your number comes up, you have an application to fill out, or paperwork, a form to fill out or
But then
something.
you're not applying, you're filling it out and submitting it.
Right.
That's just different wording than applying.
Right.
Applying means I'm coming to you for it,
Right.
not I'm telling you.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
That just makes it not.
Okay.
Nobody
Well,
can argue then that, you know, hey, I didn't.
So how would you like it worded?
I think that they have to submit once they receive their notification. They have to
Submit what?
submit, they have to submit their.
Their form or
their-
whatever.
Their form with their fee within X amount of days.
What- Okay, so what are you gonna call the form? If not an application form?
A residential inspection form,
Okay,
right? I mean,
that's fair.
Hang on.
No, I just want to,
I'm just gonna say honestly, we spent quite a bit of time on this. And I think it's fine. I hate to put it through all the,
again,
I think that we can spend our time better. And I think the more things we throw up with them, probably the better. But that's my opinion. I mean, they just passed this not that long ago.
And they weren't happy about it.
Yeah, and so for us to say you weren't happy about doing this the first time, and by the way, we found it concerns, I just think isn't.
will we be opening it up if we change the dollar figure in there? Or
The
There
dollar
is no
figure
dollar
was,
figure.
there was never a firm dollar figure in the legislation because we were still trying
I'm
to,
not sure that's true.
The ordinance says $100.
$100.
Yeah.
There is a firm dollar figure.
Okay.
That was the dollar figure that you all came up with based on.
What
we thought
Wyndham
was
told
gonna-
us.
What was gonna be
So-
reasonable, now we can't find anybody to.
But it's gonna be
that price.
amended. If we go with a certified individual, it's gonna be amended and considerably higher,
Right.
which
That's when we were
is at
thinking
council's
of going
request.
with the Wyndham guy, who's not certified.
Okay, let's go ahead and we'll do the, let's review the legislation on the lighting ordinance amending section 45007 of the village, the zoning ordinances, the village of Mantua relating to illumination of signs. Probably section 2 is the biggest change. Signs shall not be internally illuminated. Is everybody okay with legislation as presented? Should we go ahead and-
I'm still looking at it.
I sent it to you the other day.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, I like no signs lit, done.
Yeah,
There's-
exactly.
There's no interpretation then.
I make a motion to send legislation to council to amend backlit signs,
So moved.
illuminated signs, especially section 45007.
So you want to forward this legislation as we
Yes.
have it?
Yes.
So
Okay.
moved.
There's a second, right?
Yep.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next one we have is an ordinance amending various sections of chapter 480 of the zoning court ordinances of the Village of Mantua relating to exterior property maintenance.
As everybody can see on the agenda and even the minutes, I think I had all the different changes that
Yeah.
we've made from the beginning. Michelle verified them.
Looks good.
Is that your motion to send it to council?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
All in favor of sending this ordinance to council? As-
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
I think
Okay.
you still have a piece of new business from Michelle, this landmark committee meeting.
We will address it.
Huh?
I had that. Okay.
And the reason it's coming for Tammy, so you know that it's coming to planning, is because the landmarks committee came out of planning originally. So they're,
You guys, yeah, basically formulated the
Right.
legislation to.
and now there's some issues with it.
Well, there's issues because now they're down to 5 members. They're supposed to be 7 members. They don't seem to, there isn't really people jumping up and down to be on Landmarks Commission. So it only just happened that at their last meeting, they were doing it by Zoom and I was running the Zoom. And since they have 5 people, 3 people were present, they wanted to call it to order. And I'm like, you're a 7-member board. I'm sorry you have 2 vacancies, but I believe that your quorum should be 4, not 3. And they're like, well, we only have 5 people. I'm like, yeah, but, so what happens, when you have 3 people, then your quorum is 2, and it really isn't. So then they got,
And they've been carrying on like this before it was on Zoom.
right, well, I haven't.
But they don't turn
involved
their
in the
minutes in.
meetings, so I don't know what's been going on. So it raised a concern. So I did some research and there's like kind of a split of decision. And I figured some clarification should be forthcoming rather than just what their legislation says, their authorizing legislation says a majority of the voting members constitute a quorum. I think it should be pinned down a little bit more, as in a majority of the members of the seats filled, not including vacancies, shall be a quorum, or like with the Board of Zoning Appeals, a quorum is 3. 3 concurring votes are required for any Board of Zoning Appeals action to happen. So you could make the same recommendation for landmarks. A quorum shall be 4. The concurring vote of 4 members shall be required for any action. So, it's whether you guys want to let them get away with having less members and have a quorum be smaller, but it just needs to be cleared up. So
Have we
that's
advertised for 2 more members yet? Yes, I'm sure we have.
So
We have.
is the group whittling down the one that can just make the
Yeah,
decisions that they
exactly.
like?
See, that's a problem, right? Where does it end?
Well, here is my concern besides it's supposed to be 7 members that we're down to 5. When we put this in place 5 years ago, 6 years ago,
Well,
it was for a specific purpose of the Landmark Commission. They had people that were going out and not interviewing, but they were doing research on plots, the history, the ages of homes and different things like that. We had, don't quote me on this, even though I'm the one taking the minutes, there was between 7 and 10 property owners that gave us letters of intent that as soon as this legislation was passed, that they would sign up their property to be in on the historic
mhm.
landmark thing with this registry, thank you. And not one of them have done it. Now, Jody has tried to get the Jake's Market on, and she is not eligible because, if I recall, the property has changed design so much that they don't have any proof of what the original facade was. And so she's not eligible. So I don't know if they're not doing what we had in mind for it to do. I mean, I'm not saying that the little street sanction things aren't nice, but that should be coming out of service or parks. You know, somebody should be bringing that to service or parks. We're not, I mean, they have wine walks where they go and walk past, you know, all the historic houses, but
But as a committee, they're not fulfilling the
they're not,
mission.
right. Right.
Who is it their job to solicit the businesses to, what do I want to say, get into the program? Or is it just assume the businesses,
that's-
owners, the building owners, I should say?
That's what they were originally doing, when, is he even still on it? Linda and
Nick Geller?
Nick Geller. You know, he used to send letters to people.
You did.
We had the flyers that CT had done for us that were put out in all the businesses to entice people to do it. And I don't know what the reason is. I thought we were pretty lenient on if you're gonna register your property, it's only the outside that has to mirror what it was. You could do whatever you want on the inside, but it's a lifetime
Yeah.
registry. Once you sign up your property, it goes even when you sell your house. A lot of people have an issue with that. So I don't know. I just don't, you know,
When they were first established, they, you know, part of the establishment was that they got all these letters of intent and promises that once it was established, all these property owners would apply to have their property listed to be part of this historic system within the village, and we got nothing.
And how many years?
Hmm?
And how
Since
many
like
years?
13, I think, 2013,
20.
this was
Yeah,
established
it's gotta be 6 or
late
7.
12, yeah, ordinance 2012,
Yeah.
49.
so it's plenty of time to get off the ground.
So are we looking for a motion to disband?
It's a discussion on what we should do.
Because I mean, that's fine with me. They've had 7 years to get it rolling. That's,
And I mean, I don't think it's any fault of their own. I don't think they can't get traction. There's no traction to be had. If nobody wants to,
Well, the support that was offered initially was false.
well,
That's
that's
what
what
it
I
comes down
mean.
to.
Right, so, I mean, yeah, that's not their fault. That was, you're right. It was support that was initially, you know, we thought we had all these people on board and it
Well,
never panned out.
are they doing any harm?
Are they doing any harm?
I don't think they're doing anything.
Well, if they don't do any harm and they don't take any resources from us,
Well,
What are
but
they
they
voting
they have given We have
They've got-
given them
they've
a
got
$600 budget. So they have $600 they can spend every year. But they don't report like all the other committees at council give a report.
And Rich Eiffelise is, I mean, I'd like to know how much money CT spends and
He usually
copying all their
makes
flyers and everything.
1,000 flyers, color flyers that are 6 or 8 pages.
Yeah.
A little
For them.
booklet.
I mean, he just says, we'll take care of that, and then he does it.
So,
CT does it for free.
I mean, if he's willing to do that, that's fine, but they should be responsible for presenting at each meeting, right? Whether they have action or
there's a
not.
state report that's supposed to be done. I have no idea when the last time, when Renee Henry was still on it, was the last time I knew the state report was done.
Really.
No, it's been 4 years.
That's been 3 years ago. So I don't know.
How are they pacing on their 2020 budget? Have they used the 600?
I don't think they were going to use, let's see. They had something that went on, it might have been Art on the Hill a couple years ago, that they bought poster paper and stuff to advertise
So
or
nominal.
something. It was
So-
minimal.
Yeah, so their budget's just rolling year to year, and if they're not doing any harm, I say hold them to the quorum of the initial 7, and then if they maintain that, they maintain their reporting. I mean, chances are, if we put these restrictions on them, they'll find them too cumbersome anyhow.
So, yeah, okay,
I mean,
right.
if they're not causing any harm, they're not
No,
causing,
they're
let them
They're
meet.
not.
I mean, let
No,
them
they
meet.
don't. They
But
don't.
I wouldn't be volunteering to take minutes for them or host meetings unless you'd like to. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, then
I
they'll,
only did it because they wanted to have it by Zoom. I didn't want to have a meeting on a Saturday morning.
then send them the link and
Yeah.
have them open their laptop. But I wouldn't host it.
Should I check with the state to see when the last time was they sent the annual report in? Maybe they have been doing it.
I mean.
Well, they're
That
gonna have to
doesn't-
start getting things on file with
yeah,
us.
does that change
With-
what we
They
do?
they have
village.
a booklet downstairs that they're supposed to turn stuff in, and the book is supposed to be up to date.
Okay, well, I mean, we can't go back. They've changed, how many, I mean, there's only, 2 people that are on it, that were on it when we started?
Well, Nick's on it, and I can't remember who else is on it.
Was Ally on it? when we
No.
started?
No, Hal was. Hal, Eric Hummel.
Right, so Nick's the only one that's.
Terry
really
Vetri
still
used to be on it.
Right?
Carol Pollard was on it.
Carol Pollard.
was on it.
Has Alec been on it from the get-go?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the
He just
5.
didn't want to be president anymore, or chairperson.
Well, I assume everybody that's CC'd and the 2 on here is the members.
Yes. And Clark has been on there quite a while now.
Quite a while, but
That's the
He
guy-
wasn't one of the
That's the
That's the
original.
guy from Ravenna, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, the answer, original question, I believe that the quorum should be based on the 7 voting members available.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that.
You know, that's,
so. I'm
So we're
thinking-
gonna hold them at 7, though,
Yeah,
that's
so we need to
therein
amend
lies our.
that
Okay. I mean,
from what it says now, which is vague and not definitive, to 4 members of the board shall be present to constitute a quorum. The concurring vote of 4 members shall be necessary for the board to act. Words to that effect.
Words to that effect.
And do you want to add something additionally that they have to present a report to the village council after every meeting that they have? They meet quarterly.
They were supposed to.
absolutely.
supposed-
Everybody, every other committee in the
Or
village
minutes.
makes a report to village
Yeah, I haven't
council.
gotten minutes for the website in forever.
I mean, they can do it by in writing if they want.
And I don't even,
Right.
I guess let me make myself a note, because the notebook, it's a big binder that's downstairs, and see when the last, so I guess let them know if they haven't been turning in minutes, because Renee used to email them to me. They weren't signed, but at least I had minutes,
Mhm.
and they were supposed to sign them and then turn them in. That's the process, because there's a place to
Do they have a published schedule of meetings?
They are supposed to publish at the beginning of the year, they meet quarterly.
Okay.
And there's one annual report that's supposed to be due by January 1st of every year.
That's the one that goes to the state
That
for
goes
some
to the
reason?
state, yes.
That's gotta be a pretty short report.
And I agree with Wes. They're not causing any harm, but we need to hold them to
And should
the same standards all of our other committees are. I mean, this,
And if they
You're right.
fail to uphold those, then they become a liability. And they're disbanded. Or motions put forth. to
Right.
disband them.
It could always be the report that I give for cemetery and the
Sure.
BZA.
yeah, they could, yeah, exactly.
Just add it to that.
Right, 4 times a,
When
Or
they
3
were formed,
times a
did the
year.
village pass legislation that dictated what their
Yes.
purpose and function
Yes.
Oh,
was?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
That's
long.
very
yeah, it was
detailed.
very
It's
detailed,
like-
yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. And
Okay.
What I want to look at
Plus, you
while we're
were
still on
involved.
the subject is if
Too.
there's a requirement.
Well,
for-
we
Me and Wes both.
Yeah,
we
you were
both
involved
in
and
it, yeah.
Aaron was on it with you.
Yeah, it was very detailed.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it was from the
Because
state.
I don't,
Yeah, was gonna
I
say, we
don't
didn't
think-
write it.
Yeah, we
Right.
didn't write it.
Oh,
It came from
okay.
the
I
state,
don't think
yeah.
there's one person on there that is 100% on what it said, the type of people you had to have. Remember
Like
that?
an engineer.
I mean, I'm not saying,
I-
I'm not saying-
Exactly, wasn't
I
it
remember
like an
some pretty
architect
specific
or there had to be somebody in the building trade, like, and at the beginning, we had that.
yes.
Eric was on,
Mhm.
was Jeff on?
No, Hal.
Hal was on.
the
Yeah,
engineer,
Hal was
Eric
on,
was the
Eric was
construction,
on.
Yeah,
and I
he
don't
was,
remember the
he was our
various.
architect, yes,
And
so,
I think-
yeah,
didn't
we
have a
definitely had
lawyer?
people
I
at the
thought maybe
beginning.
We had a lawyer on too at the beginning.
I don't remember.
We had a
Aaron-
full house at the beginning. I mean. it
Aaron was on it at the beginning. He was the
Oh.
attorney. No?
No, 'cause if you said, you said Carol,
Carol
and you said
Pollock,
Terry,
Terry.
we know
Beckman.
Eric,
Source of
Eric.
discord.
Hal,
Well,
and Nick were the original 5.
No, there were
There were 7.
There were 7. When it started, there was a full house. It was,
Yeah, we had 7 when they started.
So the last meeting minutes that we have online are from 2018.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, so do you want to recommend legislation for council? I don't know if we need to come back with this, but I just assume get it to council with this legislation. 1, requiring 4 people for a quorum and any official action. And 2, that they shall submit a report to the village council after each quarterly meeting.
Mhm.
I mean, I can write that up and get it to
Right.
Jenny tomorrow. So move?
Do we need to take that to council?
Yeah, because it would be an amendment to the. to
Yes.
Oh, okay,
the
okay, okay.
legislation.
All right, I'm with you. Okay.
So what exactly are you putting on it?
4 members shall constitute a quorum and it shall take the concurring vote of 4 members for any action of the
Okay.
board. And
It
2
was not originally
members shall
7.
submit a,
according to Michelle.
I don't know, okay, so I like that they need 4, but I think that we should say something to the effect of, a quorum shall constitute a majority of
Yeah, we
all
changed it to
seats
some.
regardless of filled or vacant,
But these are the original 5.
which is 4, but I don't think that you should
There were
come
not
out and
7.
say 4. I think that you should make it flexible to where if they,
Nick, Hal,
I don't-
Eric, Terry.
I guess
Renee Henry
I
was
guess
always on
potatoes
it.
and potatoes.
That makes
well,
6.
that's
There's
what-
another one. Let me
see,
think a minute.
The language I'm proposing right now is the same language that's in Board of Zoning Appeals. 3 members constitutes a quorum because it's a 5-member board, whether there's a vacancy or not. It specifically says 3.
Okay.
Then there's no confusion.
And you
It's
don't have
4,
Aaron on there.
The
Aaron
number
was
is
on the
4 and
original.
4 shall be the number.
He was on it?
That's fine. I think that should say that personally that a quorum is the majority of all available seats, whether filled or vacant. But that's just my opinion. That's fine.
Well, that's the same thing as saying 4.
It is.
Exactly. That's why I
Because,
think
but
it-
then if it changed to 5 members and we came back and said 5 members, we would be changing 5 and then it was 3. You know, we would change it at that time to 3 members.
It's saying the same thing. It's just saying it better, in my opinion.
But then it's more ambiguous. I think sometimes simple is best. And it's coming from me. You know how I like words. But
Yes,
sometimes simple. The word for is for, and there's no ambiguity.
That's,
So I'm
that's
sorry
fine.
to argue, but.
Oh, it's not, it's a discussion, it's not an argument, that's fine,
That's my opinion.
yeah.
We haven't argued in a
We
while.
haven't argued in a while, but when we do.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so 4 is the number, and submit a report to council after each quarterly meeting.
Yes.
Correct.
All right, so move.
So moved.
And start turning in their minutes, their approved minutes. I mean, I don't know how to do that. I guess as mayor, I could say, hey, all the other committees have to turn in signed minutes to the clerk at their approved minutes.
So you want that in there too? Approved
Well, could
minutes?
the minutes just be the report?
Or
Oh, it depends on what they're talking about.
The problem is the minutes are a meeting behind, right?
Right.
So if they have a meeting in September, those minutes aren't approved until their next meeting, and then what's the point? They should
Right.
have a report to council. If they have a meeting at the beginning of September, they should have had a report in September.
Yeah.
Right.
Nick used to try and come
Yeah,
periodically,
he
and
did. He came periodically, sure.
A
Not-
reporter?
and sometimes it wasn't every quarter, but he did try to come and give us a report.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is I guess we need to check with the state, because if they haven't been filling out that report, does that make us null and void? I don't know.
Well,
I don't remember that.
the last annual report they have on the website is 2017.
The last annual
Well,
report.
it says annual report.
To
It said, read the Landmark Commission 2017 annual
I don't
report.
recall seeing one since then.
so
So they would have missed 2 of them anyhow, 18 and 19, and
Right,
soon to be 20.
right.
So
yeah,
Renee
maybe we
did
should look
bring-
into that. Maybe this is not even a
Yeah.
legitimate commission anymore.
Maybe not be.
Did you guys finish your vote to send this to council?
I
I,
Aye.
Does that include minutes to the clerk and a report to council
Yes.
after each quarterly meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
and actually turn in all the missing minutes.
Well, I know, I'm not gonna make that part of the legislation, no.
Okay.
We need to yell at them. but-
And you might-
The last 5 years.
You might include it in an email to them, though.
Right. Yeah, well, I will report back to them on our discussions and then let them know.
We have a hard time getting the
Council.
BZA minutes turned in
I
signed.
don't know.
Was she looking at you when she said that?
I don't write the minutes, but I am required to sign them.
And you guys have been having so many minutes or meetings that lately they have been.
We just figured we'd let them pile up and sign them all at once. That's the,
I know, but
I
look-
figured
look,
you'd have a stamp by now.
right, yeah.
we went so long that it was like 2 years
You know, I've been waiting. for
between
that.
having a hearing that, boy, I had to say to Mary Ann, wait, I'm pretty sure I got
Yeah,
minutes here
Westford.
somewhere.
They had a meeting, this was before Wes was on Board of Zoning Appeals, and we had to sit out there waiting for them. Planning meeting, I can't remember what it was about, I think it was about the Napa
It
side.
probably was.
And Wes goes, they just took out the rubber stamp. Everybody just kind of looked at it, I was like, oh, that was good. They just rubber stamp everything.
Yeah, they used to. We actually discuss things pretty good now.
Yeah,
No, you should be.
that's the way it's always supposed to be.
Okay, can we move
Yeah,
on?
Yes, we can.
Or we're back up on? No, we're not.
Oh, yeah, you don't look at that.
What do we, okay.
Just have your- just get
We're gonna move on then, and while we're talking about the Landmark Committee, in old business, request for the review of street post signs, and a quote. John, can you educate us on that?
It was already in the minutes.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, we already
We
did
did
that.
last year, I don't know why it's on there.
Well, why is that still there?
It's on there because the Landmark Commission is
That's right,
still
we said no.
trying to do this and being a little argumentative. I'm not sure if that's the correct term. They think we should be able to do it. That's,
I think it's a matter of federal highway and federal right of
Yeah,
way
I,
regulations. They're a hazard.
from my perspective, take it off take it off
Okay.
the agenda
Okay.
until they're ready to come at us with something that
Okay.
is gonna meet
And
today's standards.
I talked to them about doing anything breakaway, but like you said,
Well, we talked about this at council last week.
Right.
I mean, I brought this up in my review of our planning meeting last month. And yeah, we got pushed back about that.
Well, I know that
So
there's
it's off
still,
the-
there's
it'll
still
be off my
pushback because
meeting.
I get the DMRC's minutes and so it's in there all the time.
Well, then you know what? Then they need to come to planning with
Plans.
Plans.
and an idea instead of
Right.
floating it out in the space.
Yeah, don't make us do all the work.
Right.
Okay,
I mean, John made the call that he needed to make and
right.
that was that. So
Okay. Match Road Bridge.
That, we're still waiting. I can't believe that we haven't gotten a denial yet on that.
which is
It's not a bad thing, right?
No news is good news, kind of
exactly,
thing?
we're waiting for a grant like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Zoning maintenance issues, any updates?
Has
No
Tam,
updates. I'm going to revisit a couple of those.
should we have Michelle send Teeter a letter since they've gotten a letter from the county that said they had to come and get a permit from you? And Mrs. Teeter told me, oh, with the COVID, I can't get into the building to get the permit. And I said, well, I can send it to you, or you can go online. This is where you find it. If you want to have a paper copy, let me know when you're coming in, and Mary Ann will hand one to you at the door. That still hasn't happened. So maybe a letter from Michelle saying, hey, since
Do I have letters that have been sent to her already? I don't think.
I will send you the letter that they received from the county.
County sounds, not us.
They started putting an addition on their house.
So the county told them they need a permit from us.
They need a
They need a
zoning permit from
To
us.
get the
before
building
they can get
permit.
their building permit.
Correct.
And they built it already?
Yeah,
So-
and I don't know if it's 100% complete, but yeah.
Let me know if it's code compliant, because I don't think they've been up there yet.
But we don't know anything
No,
about
Randy Roberts.
it.
Randy Roberts only went out to say, hey,
You sent him a letter?
Yes.
All right, send me the letter from him and whatever else you've got, I'll send the letter.
And that's
Next stop is
The
Florida.
addition actually
Okay.
goes off the west side of the
next
house,
up,
toward
the
Elm
north side
Street.
of the house.
The north side of the house.
Yeah, they tried to add on behind the house to the garage, I think is kind of, I don't think it goes as far as the garage, but on the back side. You need to go by during the day.
Yeah, because I remember something being wrapped in Tyvek on the east side for the longest time too.
Right,
that was on the west side.
Or the west side, I'm
Right.
sorry.
Yeah, that was facing your little blue house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean. so
That went up on a Sunday.
that was when they were fixing that little bump out on the second floor, and now it's all the way down to the ground level.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so that's gonna be part of this, right? Or
No, they finally got permits on that part.
Yeah.
They just took it further than the permit
Line and stuff.
said.
Okay.
And
Okay,
then the Christopher Matthews, he's the guy over on First Street that has the
Nobby Friends.
Nobby Friend House. It's up on blocks, basically. He needs to get a letter from us too, because John already sent him a letter, and so did Randy Roberts, because it's unsafe, because it's all open where they have the basement dug out, and it's just up on whatever you hold the house up for.
Is
when
there
you-
still county money to,
He was
Tear
it down?
gonna replace the
No, it's
basement or
just like
redo the
here.
basement.
What
It's
portion of
wide
that's a
open
zoning
now.
I
violation?
know, that's what I'm like,
More
is
building
he
violation.
doing a walkout basement? What's he doing with that? Like, what's he planning? You know?
I mean, I've been dealing with this all summer, because the neighbors are complaining because they're afraid that children might get under there and somebody might get hurt, and I don't even think the house is locked. I don't know that for
was there
sure.
anything we could cite under like an attractive nuisance, like you can with a swimming pool or?
We don't have an ordinance against it.
Randy
I mean,
Roberts
exterior
cited,
maintenance, maybe, I don't know.
Exterior maintenance, I could come out.
Have you written him a letter for exterior maintenance?
No, we sent it right to Randy because it's one safe. We figured he'd put him on a demo list. And he should. I mean,
Well,
how's
yes,
that
he
bad?
should.
I would have
He
did
should,
it
but
20 years ago. I'll do it. I'll
why don't
send
you
it.
give him an exterior maintenance letter? for-
His last exterior maintenance, he actually cleared it up. On a Saturday, he buried it in a hole, but
Right.
I didn't
right.
see him.
Yeah, I think this one's clearly one of those all exterior members shall be sound and not permit animals or rain. It sounds like it's probably permitting animals.
I'm pretty sure we say something about the foundation in the maintenance code
Right.
too, don't we?
And we're gonna have to see if
And
we
the fact
can,
that there is
There's
none, doesn't that?
we're gonna have to see if we can find a
Yes.
current address
There
for
is
him because he
definitely
doesn't live in the
language
village
for
anymore.
foundations,
Right.
Right.
Because one side doesn't have foundation at all.
No.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, there's definitely language for that in there.
See,
Yeah.
there's foundation to our argument though. Okay, any of the other things we need
Okay,
to talk
this
about?
Chris Matthews, oh, that's Chris Matthews, that's the one we just talked about. Scott Engel, I don't know what the status is there, John. Somebody called me that is trying to, actually, it's,
Trying to buy it, aren't they?
No, they're trying to buy the one next door.
Mark from Enterprise. No, Mark from Enterprise is trying to buy
Angle property.
Engel's house. But Engel thinks it's worth something.
What's he trying to buy it for?
He wants to tear it down and put a new house up. He called me and I said, well, you need to talk to, has he ever contacted you?
Once, and I tried to call him back, and he hasn't.
Yeah.
Who'd you say? Mark from?
Mark from Enterprise. He wanted to know because we have that little triangle.
Yeah.
That's the ladies cemetery fund.
Right.
And he wanted to know exactly how much that property was. And I said, talk to John because I couldn't find
Enterprise
it.
what?
Enterprise Tree Service.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Mark, what's his, Miller, right?
Mark Miller.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you meant Enterprise Car Rentals.
Sorry.
I wasn't sure either.
Yeah, it was the tree guy.
You know, the tree guy you don't like.
Yeah.
Mark, the tree guy you don't like.
So do you think that house is worth something?
Scott thinks it's worth something. Mark doesn't think it's worth anything.
Well, I will make a formal complaint against that house again if you wanna, the vines growing up the house and through the windows and into the chimney and,
He
I mean,
fixes very little once in a while. He fixes screens and the driveway.
I can't
Cut
believe
the
it.
grass.
Is there still blue tarp on the roof?
I'll check that. He had one
It-
removed.
That was on, I mean, you have to be looking at it from Cemetery Drive
Yeah, you have
to see it.
Yeah, I don't think it's still there.
Okay. It's been a while since I
I
walked
didn't,
up
I
to
didn't
there.
notice it, but that doesn't mean anything.
Okay. Okay, and this,
Randy Lucas, he's the one that lives, or
Lucas
Lucas
Randall.
Randall. He's the one next to Timmy Lewis's house, Wince's old house.
okay.
I'll have to tell you. Everybody know where I'm at now, Wince's old
I
house?
knew when you said Timmy, so.
It's been vacant forever. He kind of mows the grass, but the shrubbery is just,
Well, the soffits are falling in and I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah.
not gonna be long before it's
maybe-
gonna be
maybe
another
another
Scott
letter
Engel house.
to get it cleaned up.
Oh, the Scott Engel house is a disaster.
Oh, yeah.
It
Yeah.
is just a disaster.
And just,
And then the next one is 10760 Main Street, Brent,
that's the-
however you say
it's
his
the
name.
old doctor's
It's
office.
The old doctor's office. It had apartments upstairs and the doctor's office downstairs. It appears that he has converted the downstairs into living quarters, so he needs to get an occupancy
Is
permit.
that a county issue again?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
And we sent that to the county.
okay.
but we need to send him a letter now too, that he needs to go to the county and get one. He probably needs an inspection too.
Oh, I'm sure he does. He's got to have a separate egress, everything else.
Well, what I
He does.
kind of recall from,
Mhm.
who was the zoning, Portage County zoning guy or building?
Randy Roberts,
Hey, Robert,
No, before.
Before, started with a C, Cochran,
Charlie.
Charlie Cochran. He had told me that this guy had contacted him and wanted to put the apartment in the bottom. And I recall, and because this has been a while ago, that because of the square footage and the apartments above, that he'd have to put a suppression system in it. Does that sound right?
Fire suppression? I don't
Yes.
I don't know.
And when he-
They could
Yeah.
have
That's
to.
what I remember.
Yeah. Well, and if he has no separate egress, that could be why fire suppression too, something to do with that.
Well, it's got a front and rear.
Front and rear door too.
Mm-hmm. And then
Are
the one door that leads up to the upstairs apartments.
yeah, there's just one way out for them. And it has been on fire before, right? That's where,
It's been on
yeah.
fire before.
Yep, it is.
that's where, what's his name?
I mean, I don't want to make it hard on people, but I get so tired of people just doing
Well,
whatever they want to
If
do.
and when the maintenance or the inspection
Right.
passes, that'll.
Well, what has
alleviate a lot.
passed, it's a matter of getting it rolling.
Right.
Okay. And I get questions all the time on the Snyder property on the corner of Mill Street and Main Street.
Wasn't he was incarcerated?
He's out.
He's out.
Okay,
Out
He's,
now?
he's been out for 2 months,
Well,
okay.
he's good. He got an active warrant for that case, I thought.
I thought, and I'm just going by what
Was he
some of
out
the
on bond,
neighbors.
or did he get sentenced?
Hmm?
Or was he not convicted?
He was in jail for a while, quite a while.
Yeah,
And I saw him over the summer. Plus, he's renting those units out to a couple people that work over at McDonald's.
That's the White Houses across the street.
Yeah,
Right across the street from McDonald's, yeah.
that we tried for months and then found out he was in jail.
I mean, there's,
Everybody about what, a couple years ago.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
has been going on a while.
yeah, there's
Well, yeah,
siding
he was-
lines in the
citation
back.
against him.
Yeah, he was,
And there was a warrant because he was in jail.
Yeah.
I'm interested now.
Okay, well, the ball needs to continue to roll on that one.
Yeah, we'll see what the status is. of
Yeah.
that.
That's the only problem with your civil violations.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can file an
Oh, wait.
injunction against him, but to what end?
Well,
What
when
do
one of
you
those
get out of
pieces of
it?
aluminum siding flies off and whacks somebody that's walking down Mill Street, then there might be some criminal. And it's not far from happening. I mean,
yeah.
that's another place that needs to
Yeah. Well,
meet up to Tommy Van Offen's bulldozer.
and on that note, and I mean, I don't want to drag this on, but it's just one of those things that we've discussed since Wes and I have been on planning. How long do we let Gail Shush slide?
Well, that, you
Well,
guys kind of slid over it here.
Yeah.
It's under, also working
was
on
on the very
boarding
first thing.
houses. It's under the first one. No,
Well, I don't just mean that. I mean, the house in
The
general.
house itself.
right.
I mean, the house itself is just as bad as some of these that we're talking about, if not worse. It's such a shame, but I mean,
How long can we
how
let
long
it
can we
go?
let it go? Because we've let it go for, geez, Wes, you and I have let it go for 10 years now, if not more.
The only problem that so it needs addressed just because it's in the code, but you're gonna run into two problems. Either one, eventually it sells and somebody's able to fix it up, and that's, or she's able to fix it up. That, I know, but let's just, that would be best case scenarios, right?
Right.
The other alternative is it gets torn down, and then do you really want that played on the
Oh, God, no.
Prospect Street? I mean,
No, you don't, but
I mean, so that's.
at that point, maybe there would be a, hero come to the rescue, or she would have a
Oh,
come to
hopefully.
Jesus talk and sell it, but I mean, come on. That place is,
I don't disagree at all, but the more I think about it, I mean, it needs addressed because it's in the code,
right,
but hopefully the first outcome is what happens, not the second.
yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe we can get some civic group that'll,
Yeah,
Pick
we-
up and
we tried
raise
that.
fun-
We went down that avenue, didn't we? Years ago, we tried that.
Perhaps those that are interested in the Landmark Commission will help.
well, Gail had applied to be on the landmark because she thought that she'd be able to get free money to fix her house up. And I have not been in the house since she's there. Has anybody been
No.
in?
I have
Not
not.
since I was, you know,
Because I hear that she's a real hoarder of antiques. I mean,
it used to be an antique store.
Right.
right, so if she is, maybe she could have, somebody could get her to have a sale and raise some funds. I don't know.
But hoarders are hoarders.
Yes.
Right. It just, every day I walk by that house, it just drives me nuts.
What
It just
about Mrs.
absolutely drives me crazy.
What about Mrs. Spence's house on Reagan Street?
I'm gonna assume that's abandoned,
Right.
yeah?
Mm,
Right, almost at
And
the,
it's next to
just to the left
Stewart's.
of,
It's
yeah.
left of Stewart's and right of Dunkerton's.
to the left of the.
Oh, no, not Dunkerton's,
Yeah.
Menards.
Menards, yeah. You go down Elm Street, dead ends into Reagan. It's the first house on
On
the
the,
south side to the left, if you turn left.
on the church side.
Yes.
Is it empty?
So is
I
it,
don't know if it is empty.
is
Sure
it
looks
this White House?
Yep,
Right
that's
next
it.
to, yeah. And you know what?
Somebody's saying, I mean, the grass is getting.
Yeah, the grass, I was
But
gonna
maybe
say, I
Stewart's
know
one.
I've
There's a
seen
tree in the
somebody cutting
back,
the grass.
back end
Is that tree still
that
down?
missed the house when it fell, but I never see a car or anything there.
What's that address? I can have Mary Ann see if they
Uh,
have water.
Hmm?
I
That's
know
all
that
for
I've seen
somebody's
somebody
there.
over there cutting the
Tell me
grass.
4856, or 40, I'm sorry, 4586, Reagan, let me check the mailbox, make sure it's right.
I'll have Mary Ann check tomorrow.
Yeah,
I always think it just looks completely closed down. That picture looks better than I think it looks when I drive by.
Yeah,
See if anybody's behind the curtains.
Yeah. I can't, I believe it's 4856,
And now it's 4856 instead of
That's
4586,
whatever I said initially.
4586.
I said 1237.
but it's like 7:47.
Yeah. That's why.
She
Okay,
didn't get that.
4586,
I did.
Violet Spence.
But she's gone.
Oh, is she?
she's still voting?
Wonder taxes.
And, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can look her up on the tax map too.
Violet and Howard,
Oh, my God.
they were,
She's never taken it out of his name?
oh, no, this is just
Yeah,
some
but
like
didn't
white
she-
pages.
Didn't she have a elder son that lived there? I'm almost certain she did.
Well, Steve Spence is probably close to your age. No, he's older
No,
than
he's
us.
older. He's David's age. He lives up on
Steve Spence,
Skinner.
he lives up on Skinner. And then Mary Spence, and then I get confused because a lot of the Spences married Winces.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that somebody's been cutting the grass.
Yeah.
I know that. I've seen someone over there.
That would be Steve.
No, that's why I thought maybe Stewart's were doing it.
Oh, yeah, maybe Stewart's are doing
Maybe.
Do we have anything else?
Do we have anything else?
Auditor's list.
Well, wait, unless Wes is looking that up, we can have a motion to adjourn.
it. I will make that motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
And that carries.
7:50.
All eyes.
All eyes are on you.
Did you see that, I don't know where the hoarder was, but the hoarder put so much stuff in his own house